Hi everyone! Okay, so today I am doing this look, which is a look that I wore a couple of videos ago. It was requested by several people, so I thought I would just do it. And I'm also going to be doing my full face makeup, which I don't think I've done in a video before. So I'm going to be showing how I did my eyebrows, my eyelashes, and my foundation and contouring. I'm also going to be using just my Sigma brushes for this tutorial. Oh, I did use a fan brush, that wasn't Sigma, but other than that, all the brushes I used were Sigma brushes. Yeah, and I think that's everything, so let's get this tutorial started. So I applied moisturizer after I washed my face this morning, and now I am going to use Revlon Beyond Natural Smoothing Primer. I'm using a primer because I find that the foundation blends better when I use a primer. I also forgot to mention, you can also skip the step of applying a moisturizer if you have really oily skin. I used to have really oily skin, and they always say, apply moisturizer. However, if I applied moisturizer before my foundation, yeah, I would have like this gross mess after like an hour. So I never used to apply moisturizer. I would just use like a toner to remove all the oils on my face. And then if you have oily skin, you can also use a mattifying primer as well, and that also really helps take down the shine. So the foundation that I'm using is Revlon's Photo Ready, and I really like this foundation. And if you want a review, you can always just ask and I'll do a review on it. And I have a palette, and I'm just going to squeeze a bit on there. And then I'm going to take Sigma's F80 brush here. Those just a flat top synthetic kabuki, and I'm just going to dip it in a little and then dab it around my face. Now this foundation's a little darker than my skin, but however it matches my chest, so my face is not as dark as my chest because of wearing SPF and foundations all the time, so. So now I'm going to apply some powder. I am using Sephora's Mattifying Compact Foundation. I'm just going to apply it with Sigma's Tapered Face brush, which is the F25. Now I'm going to apply my highlight and contour. I usually like to do the highlight first because it prevents you from looking too overdone, I find, in the end. So I'm going to use MAC's Magically Cool liquid powder in Truth and Light. This is actually kind of interesting stuff because it does kind of turn into a liquid, and it does feel really cool on the skin once you apply it. I'm going to use the tapered highlighter, which is the F35, and apply it to the top of my cheekbones, my chin, and the sides of my forehead. And my nose. Next, I'm going to do the contouring. For the hollows of my cheeks, I'm going to use the F40 here in a Max Blunt. Now I'm going to take Sigma's Tapered Blending Brush, which is the E40, and I'm going to do a little bit of contouring on my nose. So I'm taking Blunt and I'm tapping off the brush, and then gently going up and down. Now I'm going to use Urban Decay's Primer Potion on my upper lid, and I'm going to blend it with my finger down to my lower lid. Now I'm going to apply a chartreuse base, which this is kind of like a chromaline color from MAC. It's like a chartreuse color. You can also use this nice, beautiful chartreuse color from Mayron's Tropical Aqua Palette. But today I'm going to use the chroma color. I'm going to take Sigma's F70 concealer, and I'm going to apply it to the inner half of my upper lid and my lower lid with the same brush. Now I'm going to take MAC's black round paint pot, and I wiped off the F70, and now I'm going to apply it to the outer half of my upper and lower lid. Just make sure that you blend it into the chartreuse and you blend the edges out fairly well. I also blended out the edges of the chartreuse. I'm going to take Sigma's E60 and MAC's Bitter eyeshadow. I'm going to pat it on top of the chartreuse on my upper lid. I'm going to take the E25 and I'm going to take MAC's Violet Trance, and I am going to blend that just above the black and the chartreuse. I wiped off the E60 and I'm going to take this matte black color from the Sleek Acid palette and I'm going to pat it on. You can use like matte carbon or NYX's black. But I'm just going to pat it on top of the black ground paint pot, and then I'm going to blend it into the chartreuse. I'm going to take the 217 brush and I'm going to apply it into the black, and I'm going to blend it into the Violet Trance. Just a tiny, tiny little bit. I'm going to take Sigma's pencil brush, which is the E30, and I'm going to apply the Bitter on top of the chartreuse on my lower lid. I wiped off the brush and I'm going to apply the black on the outer half of my lower lid now. I'm going to use the Sigma E50, which is a large fluff brush, and I'm going to take Brulee and apply that as my brow highlight. I wiped off the pencil brush, the E30, and I'm going to apply Crystal Avalanche on the inner corner of my eye as a highlight. I'm going to line my waterline with a black pencil liner. I'm going to use MAC's Super Slick liquid eyeliner in On the Hunt, which is just a black, and line my upper lid. Now I'm going to curl my lashes and apply mascara. I'm going to use the Shu Uemura eyelash curler. I was kind of skeptical about this, so I held off on buying it for like almost a year. But then I went to Holt Renfrew and I tried it out and I'm like, sold. I love it. It's about $30 and it's like perfect. I'm not too sure exactly what's different about it, but it's like perfect for curling my lashes because they're so short and my eyes are kind of flat. So they're like great for like Asian kind of eyes. Another great eyelash curler for Asian kind of eyes is like this Tweezerman Pocket Eyelash Curler, or the Japanesque one. I think Sephora also makes one that's very similar to this one. So they're all fantastic for very short, straight eyelashes. I'm only going to crimp once because my eyelashes aren't really long enough to do it twice. Now I'm going to apply my lashes. The lashes I'm using are the Ardell 120s. I really love these lashes because I feel like they look natural, but yet they're still very dramatic. And they're also demis, which means that they aren't quite as long, and my eyes are a little bit, I guess, narrow. They're not very big, so I have a hard time with, like, I usually have to cut my lashes. I'm also going to use Duo eyelash adhesive in dark tone. I love Duo and I love the dark tone. However, if you're not extremely experienced in applying eyelashes, I would suggest using the clear one or the white, because if you mess up with this one, then you're gonna have like maybe a black mark on your eyeshadow, which is kind of hard to clean up. So I like to apply it when the glue is still a little bit damp and not quite all the way tacky, because then I can adjust it if I need to. And then I like to hold it so that the eyelashes are more flat, so they're not as curved. My eyes are more flat, so it's just easier holding it like this. So usually while I wait for the eyelash glue to fully dry, I do my eyebrows. So I'm going to take Sigma Small Angle, which is the E65, and I'm going to take Poison Plum by Sugar Pill. And I'm going to draw in my brows. So first I do the outline and then I fill it in. Once I'm done filling in my brows, I use a clear brow finisher wax. This one is from MAC. And I just rub it on and then I comb it out with a spoolie. I like this over a brow gel just because I find that it holds my hairs in place a lot better than a brow gel. Now that my eyelash glue has dried, I like to combine them by using a spoolie and just combing them together. I don't need to use mascara to combine them because my eyelashes are so short and sparse. However, if your eyelashes are long or really curly, you may want to use mascara to combine them both. The blush I'm going to use is Koi Girl by MAC. I'm just going to use the taper face brush in the F25 to apply it to my cheekbones. If you apply it to the cheekbone, it's generally considered more sophisticated. And if you apply it to the apples of your cheeks, it's generally more youthful. So I'm going to be more sophisticated today. So for my lips, I'm going to use NYX's Purple Rain Lip Liner, and I'm just going to line my lips and then fill them in a bit. I'm going to apply MAC's Violetta lipstick. And on top, I'm going to use MAC's Revenge is Sweet lip gloss. So this is the finished look. And that's basically what I do. I don't always contour and highlight. I just generally don't mind my face shape and I don't really care. However, I just thought I would throw that in to show you guys how I do it whenever I do it. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it's kind of long, but yeah, I figured I would show you guys how to do it. But anyway, talk to you later.